It doesn't time it down or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, so when doing room inspections, MTLs are normally going to have a 23-point checklist in front of them. Most MTLs know that by heart, so they don't need to take it with them. So the first thing that we normally do is check with the sink. We're checking the sink countertop to make sure it's clean and smooth to the touch, no residue or anything like that on it. If we do feel grittiness or gunk, we're going to look at our hand, and if we can display it in the sink bowl, that'll be a demerit. So if there's no rub off or anything like that in the sink, then it's good to go. All right, next thing, we're looking at the chrome on the sink to make sure it's polished and it looks neat. A few spots are okay, but no more than a few. So this spot or this sink is pretty good to go. Next thing is the mirror. Obviously, we're checking for spots or streaks on that as well. Mirror looks good. Then we're looking inside the medicine cabinet. A lot of MTLs also check the shelving inside the medicine cabinet too, so you may want to make sure that you wipe these down. Also, make sure you don't put any prescription medications inside your medicine cabinet, because those belong in your wall locker. So prescription meds or anything that has your name on it, regardless of what it is, if your name is on the label, then that means it needs to be in your wall locker, okay? All right, next thing, we're gonna check the light fixture on top of the mirror or over the mirror to make sure it's dust free, so that's good to go. Next, underneath the sink, all right, and we're checking to make sure that any items underneath here are organized in an orderly fashion. Also checking to make sure if there's a trash can under here, which is where they should be displayed, underneath the sink, not anywhere else. So again, if you have a trash can, make sure it's underneath your sink. So if you did have a trash can underneath the sink, we're going to check inside the trash can to make sure there's no trash in it, because all that trash should be taken out the morning before formation or the night before formation, okay? So again, quick look under the sink to make sure it's organized neatly, and also to make sure that this does not need to be wiped down or cleaned, all right? So once we do that, we're going to take a quick scan of the floor. What we're looking for is dust balls and unnecessary streaks and stains and things like that. A lot of times what the MTLs do, they'll start at the corner here, all right, and then they'll just kick their feet looking for anything that kick up in the way. All right, normally if we don't see anything, we're on to the next one. Be mindful to pay attention to these corners here, all right, because as you guys are sweeping and mopping, sometimes the dust and stuff is pushed back to these corners, and MTLs will come simply here and do like this. Next thing you know, there's a big dust ball in the center of your room that you didn't see before. All right, so from there, we're on to the furniture. Quick swipe over the top. Again, we're feeling for any dust or grittiness or anything like that. Same thing, we're going to look at our hand. If there's stuff on our hand, all right, we're going to swipe it on the desk. If we can show you, then it will be a demerit. Normally, more than three demerits in different areas, it will constitute a room failure. So you want to make sure you stay on top of that. All right, same thing here. Quick swipe across the top. Good to go. Top of the microwave, it's a white microwave, so the dust is really going to stand out. Normally, the MTLs, all they have to do is take a look at the top of it to make sure there's no dust on the top. Next, we're looking inside the microwave. We're checking the door, we're checking the top, the sides, and the microwave plate. So you want to make sure that you clean all those things. All right. Next is the top of the freezer or refrigerator combo. All right, making sure this is clean. Next, we're going to open the freezer up and check the freezer seal to make sure it is dust free. Also, make sure you get this little groove right here that's right alongside it, because sometimes dust accumulates there as well. But the main thing MTLs are checking for is this rubber seal right here. All right, from there we're looking inside the freezer, making sure the ledges are neat and clean, or if there's things in here, we want to make sure it's organized. All right, so next, same thing here. We're checking the freezer seal, or I'm sorry, the refrigerator seal. We're going to check this groove alongside here as well. We're checking the ledging, all right, and then we're checking the shelves. Pay attention to this bottom shelf, because a lot of times you guys will have milk and Powerades and stuff like that. Put the top on and it'll start dripping down. So sometimes there'll be stains inside of this if there's one in your refrigerator, or at the very bottom of it. So make sure you take a look at this too, okay? You also want to make sure you don't leave any trash. Trash is considered like maybe you ate some pizza and you left the empty pizza box in there, or you left the pizza box in there with just the crusts. We consider that trash, so make sure you throw that away. If you do have water bottles, it's okay. Make sure there's water in it, because if there's not water in it, we're going to consider that trash. So when you come back, you're going to see the empty water bottle on the floor if it is trash, all right? All right, and that could be the last straw before your room failure. So right now, this room's doing pretty good. So on to the nightstand. Again, quick swipe, no dust. Other desk, quick swipe, no dust. Now, if you're the only airman in the room, like this airman's room here, it's your responsibility to ensure that both sides of the room are taken care of, because you are responsible for both sides. All right, next we're on to the windows. We're checking the window ledging. All right, this fake marble part here and this black part here. All right, same thing. Hand across it, looking for dust, good to go. Also, we're checking the dust up here by the window locks, and we're also making sure the window lock is, the window is closed and the lock is secure. All right. Once that's verified, all right, you close this. Now, when you're not in your room, this is exactly how your blinds should be displayed. In the up position with your curtains closed, all right? When you're in your room, that's fine. You can open the window, close the blinds, whatever you want to do. But again, when you're not in your room, your window display should look just like this, all right? Not like this, like that, all right? So next we're on to the bed. Your bed should look like the example just in CQ, just like the bed here. If you have your own linen, make it look like the example in CQ, okay? So we got the fold here. You don't have to worry about, you know, the 45-degree angle or anything like that. Just make sure it's nice and neat. Make sure you have a 341 tucked in the fold of your bed. Make sure that 341 is filled out correctly. All right, you got your AFSC top left, your floor MTL or team MTL in the middle, your room number at top right, and then right after that is your transition status. You could either be ITP, ATP, TPG, or RTP if you've gotten into trouble, okay? So again, make sure your 341 is updated. Also make sure you update your shift accordingly, all right? So we got IP, that's during your first week of training. You got S shift, which is normally when you start class. And then we got R shift and T shift. Most of you guys won't become that, but you may. And then lastly, we have AFI. That's when you're out of class and you're just waiting to start class, or you graduated and you're waiting to get your order. So anytime your shift changes, make sure your 341s, to include the one on your bed and the ones you carry on you, which you should have 5, by the way. Make sure all those 341s are updated accordingly. All right. Next, nightstand, same thing. Checking the tops for dust. Good to go. Next, I'm going to check the lampshade. I'm going to roll it this way to make sure it's dust-free. If you have dust on your lampshade, all you need to do is take a lamp roller. All right. Roll the dust off. It'll get it right off. All right. Next, we're going to check the base of the lamp and then the top part right up here where the light is. So we're going to make sure this entire thing is dust-free. All right. On to the next one. Same thing. Checking for dust. All right, I'm also going to look at the tracking card or transition inspection card. That should be displayed on the nightstand. What I'm checking to make sure of is that the open ranks is up to date. You need an open ranks inspection at least once a month, so once every 30 calendar days. All right, doesn't have to be at the beginning of the month, doesn't have to be at the end of the month. As long as you're on top of that once every 30 days, then you're good to go. So most MTLs do an open ranks inspection at least once a week. It's your job, your choice to join whichever one you feel you need to join. Well, for ATP, it's once a month. For ITP, it's twice a month. Just remember that, okay? All right. Room inspections for ITP, it's normally once every week, but per the regulation, the MTLs can do it once every 2 weeks. You have no control over that, but MTLs should be on top of the room inspections, all right? Every so often, the MTLs will check underneath your bed, all right? And what they're checking for is, you know, dust and trash and crap like that. So look underneath your bed. If it needs to be vacuumed, vacuum underneath your bed. And you can tell if it needs to be vacuumed because you'll be able to see it. So if it needs to be vacuumed, you want to move the box spring and the mattress completely out of the way, get the vacuum cleaner, and vacuum the entire portion underneath the bed. Don't just take the vacuum cleaner and vacuum this part because it's not going to get underneath the bed, okay? So after that, the last thing we're going to do is check in the latrine real quick. All right, this is normally a quick inspection because MTLs don't like being in your latrine a lot, all right? So first thing we're going to do is check the vent, the 4 prongs here. All right, we're going to make sure those are dust-free. All right, we're going to take a quick look at your toilet. By the way, this is the way your toilet should be displayed, all right, with the seat up. The seat could be that way, too. That's fine. It cannot be like that. MTLs don't want to have to touch your toilet just to do an inspection on your toilet, okay? So again, this is fine. That is fine. That is not fine, okay? So main thing we're looking for is to make sure it's clean. Every so often we will drop down, take a look at the bottom side, the bottom front, and the other side of the toilet to make sure it's dust free. So take a look at those areas to see if yours need to be squared away, because a lot of times there'll be a lot of accumulation down here. All right, we're males, we miss, it is what it is, but we need to make sure we clean it, okay? All right, in the shower, the only thing that we're checking for really is unnecessary mold. So if you look in your shower, namely by the corners where the shower fixture is, you see a lot of mold there, you need to clean it. All right, if you can't clean the mold off of the shower area, you need to leave a 341, preferably on your sink or on your toilet, explaining, hey, tried to clean the mold from the shower, cannot clean it. Keep in mind, if you do that, the MTL is probably going to come behind you and try to clean it themselves. If they can clean it, you'll probably see another message. I cleaned it, come see me. Or, I couldn't clean it, you're right, you're good to go. So that goes for anything that's in your room. If you can't clean it, you need to leave a 341 explaining, 1, that you tried to clean it, and 2, that you can't clean it. And again, if you do that, make sure you actually can't clean it, because an MTL will probably do the same thing. And if they can clean it, that's not going to be good to go. All right, things that can automatically fail you. All right, the window being unsecure, and that means being the window All right. Even though the window is shut, the lock is not secure, so this will be an automatic failure. All right, so no ifs, ands, or buts. Even if the rest of the room is perfect, this will be an automatic failure. All right, so make sure that lock is secure. All right, also, obviously, the window being up, obviously that's a room failure too for security. All right, other things that'll fail you, sometimes you guys will leave your, especially during your IP week, you'll leave your PO box combination left out with the box number and the combo underneath it. That's an automatic failure because anyone can gain access to your mailbox. Also, anything with your social security number on it or credit card information left out, that is also a security violation and will fail you. Don't put those items in your drawers either. Put those items in your wall lockers because sometimes MTLs will check your drawers. So make sure that your drawers are squared away as well. Vacuum cleaner, some MTLs do check it. You want to make sure it's clean and neat, and you want to make sure if there's anything in it that it's empty daily, okay? So make sure you take a look at your vacuum cleaner. All right. Other automatic failures, the iron belongs behind your toilet with the cord wrapped around it, or on top of the microwave, or inside your wall locker, obviously unplugged with the cord wrapped around it. If your iron is found anywhere else, like on this wood or on the floor or on your bed or anywhere else beside those three areas, then you're going to fail your room inspection. If you have a coffee pot, the coffee pot needs to be unplugged and obviously off when you're not in your room. It also needs to rest on top of your microwave. That is the only place your coffee pot can go. If you do have a coffee pot and you're not using it, do away with it. All right, no need of having extra things out when you're not even using it, okay? Because sometimes MTLs do look at those coffee pots. If it needs to be cleaned, that could be a demerit. Again, normally 3 different demerits in 3 different areas could be a room fail. So if you had hairs or toothpaste in your sink bowl, and then you had dust on your desk, and then your floor needed to be vacuumed, that could be a room failure. It's up to the MTL. At the same token, you can also fail for one thing, those security violations that I talked about, things being left in your medicine cabinet that are prescribed to you. Again, those go in your wall locker. Items being stored underneath the sink that shouldn't be there, that could be a room failure. Trash being underneath your sink could be a room failure too. Also, if you have like a lot of dust on your desk, like say, I can spell my name in the dust that's on your desk. That can be an automatic room failure because that's just way too much dust. So the room inspections, they're not hard to pass, but at the same token, sometimes they're easy to fail, especially if you're not paying attention to detail. Most of the time, the MTLs are in and out your room in about 1 to 2 minutes. Especially if they see your sink area squared away, they're going to be in and out very quick because that lets them know you got good attention to detail. And normally the rest of the room is going to look like that as well. However, if your sink bowl is messed up and your mirror is messed up, that's going to make that MTL go through your room just a little bit slower because that's going to let them know that maybe there's some other things wrong with your room, okay? So a good way to impress your MTL, make sure those things that are in plain sight are squared away because most of the time that's what the MTLs look for. So it only take you about 15 to 20 minutes on a Sunday to get your room in inspection order for the rest of the week. That way, throughout the week, the only thing you have to pay attention to is your bed, your sink, and making sure your wall locker is secure and making sure that toilet is flushed, okay? Other than that, that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys read the dormitory room inspection standards that's posted at the beginning of the bays, all right, and the little black holder. Also, make sure you pay attention to the 23-point room inspection checklist because, again, this is what the MTLs go by. Again, technically, if any one thing is wrong with the room, they could fail you. We normally don't do that, but we could fail you for any one thing wrong with the room. So make sure you get that squared away. And as always, if you have questions about anything, make sure you check with your team MTL, all right? Sergeant Hideout.